Okay, listen up, y'all. Okay, the internet just messed with me. So that version featuring Eminem also has millions of views. Is not the original. Silly me. The original is called Creature. Jelly Roll, Tech N9ne, and Krizz Kaliko, another rapper. The song that they title Let Me Down is pretty much the same song, except here it's with Eminem. I love the various styles each of them are bringing. It's perfect for you. Ah, she's like singing out of my soul. Sometimes we get lost in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize. This one is going to be interesting. I want to listen to Eminem and Jelly Roll. No idea what to expect. Jelly Roll is still very new to me. He's an American rapper and singer already.
There's a monster under my bed, and at my window there's a dragon. I accepted the challenge, it turned me into a savage. I broke a promise to myself again. I don't know why I'm so vulnerable.
Okay, let me go back. Dope. Okay, so rapper, singer, songwriter. I like the texture of his voice, and I love that country feel to his rap style. So that's already pretty cool. Like I said earlier, he seems like a really down-to-earth guy, but I don't know his music much. Yes, it was when he spoke to Congress about fentanyl that I've been wanting to check out. Let me start over. I love the intro already. That electric guitar and that hook already sets the stage for something that, to me, makes me think of something somber and reflective. But let's see what happens.
There's a monster under my bed, and at my window there's a dragon. I accepted the challenge, it turned me into a savage. I broke a promise to myself again. I don't know why I'm so vulnerable. They try to help, but I won't let them in. I guess rock bottom's where I'm comfortable. Both my feet planted when most people would have panicked. I embraced the storm. I found beauty in what was damaged. I'm not afraid of the boogeyman. Instead, I look at him like he's a friend. There's not a monster out there in the world that's scarier than the one that's within. There's a creature in my closet. I can hear him rumbling around. The demon screaming in the distance creates such a humbling sound. The monster that's outside my window, he's like family to me now. The things that people are afraid of never let me down.
Not to say this, no, but I'm hated, so my religious freaks say I'm the biggest beast and that I made it grow. When I spray this flow, I created mo. Creatures are like when I heat up the mic, I'm a breed of the night, but I'm tainted though. By the darkness I'm binded, I sparked it and shined it. They find it cause mine is woe. For that they label me a demon seed. Wanna disable Nina, see them bleed. Hinder me fatally and see them grieve, no. You would not believe the creature inside me. If you deceive, Khalifa's lively. We disagree when people defy me or try to take his. Whatever the fuckery toward them, you don't wanna wake this. You forsake his with a sacred, then it's over no matter what your faith is.
Okay, hold up. I might need to listen to this twice. There's a whole lot happening. I'm trying to take in the music video and the elements here and how that adds to what is the impression that it's leaving on me. But I love the various styles each of them are bringing. Jelly Roll, like I said, I love that country feel to his rap style, his singing voice. There's a warmth there, a rasp. I like that rasp a lot. Something really warm about him. It sounds weird, but there's something that makes you feel safe around him. I don't know really why I feel that way right now. I gotta reflect on that a bit. But yeah, there's a presence about him that feels down to earth and kind somehow. But I'm gonna have to check a little bit why I feel that way. And now Tech N9ne, I am not familiar with Tech N9ne's work at all. I know he's a rapper, American rapper and singer, but I am impressed with his flow and his cadence. Like, dang, I got to go back and listen to it again. But the way that he is switching up his cadence flow and the rhythm, that's good. When it comes to rap, love that. When rappers are not just straightforward rhythmically. Not only when they're good with literary art, right? We know Eminem's the GOAT when it comes to that. The wordplay and the double entendres and the little nuggets here and there. You have to pay so close attention and you have to be really aware of current pop culture and different things he's pulling. That is still a learning curve for me. But in addition to the literary art element that I love in rap when it's done right, is when people can mix it up, when there's a melodic element to rap, but when they can flow and it's not just shibbity bibbity bop, lubba shabba bop, kimini mop, shibbity bop. I'm not even talking about mumble rap. That's a whole other thing in itself we could talk about. But I'm talking about the cadence flow, right? It's not just constantly the same thing. There's really a flow and a switch, and that to me takes skill. It's kind of like drums. You know what I'm saying? You can do doom tika ta, doom doom tika, doom tika ta, doom doom tika. But you can, that's just straightforward. But the good drummers, they know how to do all kinds of things and then throw up the drumstick in between and mix up the rhythm and the rhyme and double and go back to a quarter. Just go back, switch up the rhythms and bring in so many dynamics. And when you could do that with your cadence flow as a rapper, I find that impressive. But let me go back a bit.
My religious freaks say I'm the biggest beast and that I made it grow. When I spray this flow, I created mo. Creatures are like when I heat up the mic, I'm a breed of the night, but I'm tainted though. By the darkness, I'm binded. I sparked it and shined it. They find it, cause mine is woe. But that they label me a demon seed. Wanna disable Nina, see them bleed. Hinder me fatally and see them grieve, no. You would not believe the creature inside me. If you deceive, Khalifa's lively. We disagree when people defy me or try to take his. Whatever the fuckery toward them, you don't want to wake this. You forsake his with a sacred, then it's over. No matter what your faith is, I'm a creature.
There's a creature in my closet. I can hear him rumbling around. The demon screaming in the distance creates such a humbling sound. The monster that's outside my window, he's like family to me now. The things that people are afraid of never let me go.
All the hate can't tell exactly where it stems from, but it's happening again, huh? Y'all used to be in my corner, now you just back me in one. Innocent bystanders, I'm bound to hit some. For some adversaries, I carry big guns. So some targets will get the kill shot. Some I just barely nicked them. I can make a mistake and erupt and end up taking a dump or saying some dumb shit, thinking I run shit, misplacing my anger enough to give Earl and Tyler, the creator, the brunt. Should've never made a response to it, just aimed for the fake ones. Them traitorous punks, the snakes of this constant, they can get fucked with 800 motherfucking vibrators at once. And for any of those who may have come close to about dying and can't listen to a rose without crying, for those who feel low like you're about spiraling, but this is only for those that I'm inspiring. Weapon never unhosted without firing. My will I'm imposing, foes are gonna feel like they're in the throes of a mountain lion. They talk about my daughters, hoping I fly off at the handle. Just my first thought is to trample the red 1,000 bars, but sometimes it's like dropping an anvil on a house of cards. I got to the squash and a crouton with combat boots on, a dropping a goddamn nuke bomb on top of an anvil.
There's a creature in my closet. I can hear him rumbling around. The demon screaming in the distance creates such a humbling sound. The monster that's outside my window, he's like family to me now. The things that people are afraid of never let me down.
My goodness. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I got to rewind and listen to this again. My brain just exploded a little bit. That rhythmic flow parallel to the chord progression just blew my mind a little bit. At first, it almost sounded chaotic. Bum ba bum bum ba dum bum ba dum ba bum bum ba dum bum. So I'm simplifying, okay, just to kind of grasp what I just pulled. Parallel to the chord progression, la 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 da 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 da. I don't even know how to put in words that I'm thinking right now. It felt chaotic at first, like it doesn't fit, because it almost felt like it was flowing against each other rhythmically, right? When it comes to musical compositions, if you're trying to keep it simple, you can have certain straightforward rhythms, and then you rap or you sing along with that. But what just happened here, and I got to go back, is it felt like, or it sounded like when Eminem started rapping, it was opposite. It wasn't parallel to the rhythm. It was opposite to it, which I think is fitting because of what we're talking about in the lyrics. And it is fitting to the idea of a monster and chaos and the familiar evil, right? It doesn't sound pretty. It sounds off. That sounds like a slight delay or a slight measure or two in between the chord progression. Adversaries, I carry big guns. The rhyme scheme, adversary, I carry big guns. The kill shot reference. And by the way, before I forget, the way that it started earlier with the, hold on, let me look up what I'm talking about. There's a monster under my bed. Eminem has a song called The Monster, and the lyrics say, and it starts with, I'm friends with the monster that's under my bed. And so here Jelly Roll is saying, I got a monster under my bed, that reference. And then Eminem referencing the kill shot, and before that talking about his adversaries and how he carries the gun. Dude, like these references, and in Kill Shot, talks about your fans becoming your haters and people calling them weird and just all that hate, right? Ooh, you feel like spiraling, but this is for those who I'm inspiring, okay? Spiraling, that rhyme scheme again, but still talking about that duality of spiraling, right? You're spiraling, you're struggling mentally, you're struggling. But this is for those I'm inspiring. That contrast between the haters and the adversaries, but also between the people that he's inspiring, that want to hear what he have to say, that he's actually impacting. All right. So in N9ne, there's comments on the internet about how he was raised as a Christian, his mom married a Muslim, and, I guess that conversation about him working with Lecrae and whatnot, some of the things that he quotes or that he says, okay? But in his part, he was talking about, and we'll talk about the lyrics in more depth in a second. He's talking about that, I guess, hate that he gets, the demonizing that people do. And I feel like you find that a lot, right? You find it's this weird dance between people being quick to criticize, right? Sometimes religious people, sometimes certain groups that'll demonize, that'll label, that'll call people evil that may not be evil at all, right? But we don't know their heart. We don't know what's really going on behind that mask. And then at times, there being a necessity. The flip side of that is the necessity to call what is evil, and not just to romanticize everything or to call it art or, idolize it for the sake of inclusivity or for the sake of art when there's a need for healing and health or correction or integrity and honesty. That's that duality here. But what they're addressing in this song, and I want to pull up the lyrics because this was pretty dope, multifaceted, everything. I love how Eminem, Jelly Roll, and N9ne working together created this multidimensional song up here. The chorus, da 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 da, was very catchy. Very, very catchy chord progression and composition that gets stuck in your head that you want to be able to sing along to. So it becomes doable, relatable, personal to the person listening, right? Because it's this element you can join in now. It makes it catchy, great songwriting. But the elements that Jelly Roll, N9ne, and Eminem brought in created multi-layers here in regards to their rap style, in regards to the texture of their voice and the cadence flow that build up, all of us anticipating what Eminem's going to do, the flow of N9ne, and the lyrics, that soulful rasp, that country feel of Jelly Roll, the cadence flows. I mean, really bringing in a lot of diversity, and I really loved it. I want to look into the lyrics with you. Let's look here. There's a monster under my bed. Okay, listen up, y'all. Okay, the internet just messed with me. So that version featuring Eminem also has millions of views. Is not the original. Silly me. The original is called Creature. All right, with Jelly Roll, N9ne, and Krizz Kaliko, another rapper. But the song that they title Let Me Down is pretty much the same song, except here it's with Eminem. Creature was put out, pretty much the same song, instead of Eminem, Krizz Kaliko. And then 2 years ago on Kamikaze Music with Eminem. That's the one we just listened to. Let me quickly listen to the part that Krizz Kaliko does in the original.
Never let me down.
Yeah, I managed to get myself in trouble, all of this pain. Yeah, I'm damn in the double dose of liquor's always to blame. If I could keep myself sober, I keep my hands to myself. I take a shot and it's over, that's how I end up in hell. I hope I don't pass it down to my offspring. They get everything from their daddy, feel like I'm addicted to all things. And there's no reason to change, gone too far now. And I'm stuck in my ways, back at the bar now. They say I'm a flirt and they right, I ain't perfect, alright. So when I'm thirsty and perking and purposely searching for something that's hurting me, so I just can't pack up and go. I just back out of it slow. flow. That's how it go. I thought the back out the hole. And next like I don't know. Okay. I think he be laughing at me, hands be grabbing at me. Feel like God let it happen till we dab it blasphemy. And these be a dab it naturally. Okay, yeah. I think I better let it go. Either that or I gotta let it know. And I can't do that.
There's a creature in my closet. I can hear him rumbling around.
All right, so the part here of Krizz Kaliko, to me, actually is addressing substance addiction, right? Of talking about addiction, not wanting to pass it on to the next generation. People grabbing at him, that could be maybe haters, fans, right? People that have criticism all the time, or perhaps those drugs, the addictions, trying to grab and pull him down. And that idea, that feeling of him too far gone. That was put out 3 years ago. What was done here on the track that they put on Kamikaze Music with Eminem that has 7 million views, so also pretty big. Kamikaze Music, who posted this video, edited in pieces of Eminem rapping. And either way, this was awesome. And even the original, called Creature with N9ne and Krizz Kaliko, is also pretty profound. So, Jelly Roll Creature, there's a monster under my bed, and at my window there's a dragon. I accepted the challenge. It turned me into a savage. I broke a promise to myself again. I don't know why I'm so vulnerable. They try to help, but I won't let them in. So, to me, this could mean things like addiction, the battlefield in our mind, right? The demons that we fight under our bed, at our window, right? When we're kids and we're afraid of monsters in the closet under our bed, we're reassured, hopefully reassured by loving parents or guardians or an adult that there's no real monsters. Ideally, someone that even goes and shows us, that proves it. And as we grow older, we realize there are no such things. But even as adults, we may have certain fears of darkness, certain phobias. We may still look under the bed just to make sure there's nobody lurking, because we live in a world where there are dangers, real at times, or fears and dangers that we perceive based on the things we hear and feed our mind with. When we're talking addiction, when we're talking mental health, many of us can relate to that. Those monsters under the bed, windows, the dragons outside of the windows, right up and close to where we want to find peace. The bed is a place where we're supposed to be able to sleep. So if you feel like there's a monster under it, you're not going to be able to really rest. You're not safe in your own bed, in the most vulnerable place of your house, right? Because that's where you close your eyes. And when you're sleeping or trying to, you're vulnerable, right? It's harder to be alert, to be on guard, to protect yourself than when you're awake and you're opened, you have your eyes open and you see the threat. At my window, there's a dragon, okay? Same thing, something of a threat of danger that can look into my life, my world, my soul. I accepted the challenge. It turned me into a savage. What does that mean? I interpret that as those threats, the monster and the dragon, that presents a challenge, right? I got to fight it. And it turns us into a savage. So when we start fighting it and the monster is so big, be it addiction, be it the struggles of life, mental health, sometimes it turns some of us into savages where we feel like we have to become so hardcore and murderous and intense. Perhaps because we thought that's how we fight the dragon, and then we end up maybe translating that into every other area of our life, right? If you've been through hardships or trauma, you may start developing certain defense mechanisms. We know about fight, flight, and freeze and fawn, these different coping mechanisms that we do to engage or to freeze and remove ourselves, or to pull away and deny the problem, right? Different ways we cope with pain. And sometimes we go into that attack mode. We become savage. We become intense. But if we're not healing and we're not integrated, we're not healing, we may apply that savagery. We may apply that intensity, that fight mode in every other area of our life. For example, if you've been through an abusive relationship, you might start seeing threats in other people and in other relationships, even if those people are good for you, or if there's no threat. You might be, if you're not healing, so defensive and you're going into full defense mode, reacting to things, not realizing that's still from that past pain and trauma. Or the way we handle things. That's how I'm taking this. I broke a promise to myself again. I don't know why I'm so vulnerable. What was that promise? That looks different for every one of us. And that's why I like that wording, because we can all read into that what it means to us. Sometimes it could be a promise not to give in to the drink or to the drug. Sometimes it could be to not be so reactive and get so angry, right, in relationships and conversations. Sometimes it could be being very emotional, feeling very vulnerable and being frustrated that we let things get to us again. It could look different things for all of us. They try to help, but I won't let them in. They maybe being family, friends, a therapist, other people that want to help with whatever that struggle is. I guess rock bottom's where I'm comfortable. And now this kind of sheds a light, I feel, that specific phrase on the overall thought of this song, which to me implies I'm that creature. Creatures are my familiar habitat. Rock bottom is where I'm comfortable. That's the world that I know. That's the life that I know. That's just my thing. And the thing with that is, psychologically, and I've said this in some other videos, there is diagnoses and labels, putting a name on something, on our physical ailment, on our mental issues, on our spiritual, our emotional matters, can be helpful because when we name something, we can identify it and we can figure out what to do about it now. But the problem becomes when we over-identify with it, right? The same thing goes for therapy and even psychology. There are so many different schools of thought, so many models. If we just slap a therapy model onto somebody because their symptoms sound familiar to other case studies or what we learned in the textbooks, a lot of harm can actually be done if there is no relationship, right? There is criticism by some psychotherapists, psychoanalytics, about this fast-paced, I'll call it microwave therapy just for the sake of that idea of things being instant, right? That quick Band-Aid idea of let's just throw in some cognitive therapy real quick. Let's just throw in some behavioral therapy. Let's just do some breathing exercises real quick, right? This quick little, do a few sessions and you'll be fine. And there is criticism by some psychotherapists, psychoanalytics, and psychiatrists who believe that there are those who believe that these quick fix therapy approaches are not good enough in the long run, that there is certain work that has to be done over longer periods of time, more in-depth work. And of course, as I said, there's different schools of thought, right? But when we slap a textbook or some type of diagnosis on a person, a lot of damage can get done or a lot can be lost, because I believe there are things that come out into light through therapy. Now, some things may be more surface level, certain things we do, certain behaviors that can be addressed more quickly or healed more quickly. But when there's severe trauma, when there's serious demons we're fighting, there's deeper work that needs to be done. And I believe work that needs to be done in a safe and wholesome relationship beyond just a textbook, beyond just, I'm going to slap a strategy on it. And so when we look at the lyrics here and we're looking at this idea of someone being comfortable with rock bottom, that to me summarizes the overall idea of this song, which is that this is where I'm familiar at. And again, diagnoses can be helpful, understanding why you do what you do and what you have, what ailment you have. But if that becomes our sole identity, we're missing out a lot of the rest of the picture. And the same thing goes for over-identifying with that creature, with those demons, with that struggle, getting to a point where we think, I'm doomed. Like, this is who I am. This is my safe place. This is who I am, right? Even if we identify with the creature, even if rock bottom is where we're comfortable, that does not mean that is where we're supposed to stay. Quite frankly, sometimes the uncomfortable is where the growth happens. And some might say, I don't want to be, uncomfortable. I don't want to do the work. Yeah, but then we also have to understand that that comes with certain consequences. And there too, this is a case-by-case, person-by-person situation. One person may say, I don't want to do the work. I want to be I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't care. And that's their choice. But then family and friends also have to decide what to do with that information. Say, when it comes to addiction, a person that refuses to see their issue or refuses to get help, friends and family and those this person longs to be in relationship with have to set up boundaries and decide, okay, do I want to still stay around this creature? Am I willing to engage with this if this person's not willing to change because this is where they're comfortable? And that goes vice versa too. Another person may say, yeah, I don't want to be uncomfortable, but I don't want to lose my marriage, my children, my family. As, what was his face? Was it Krizz? The Krizz Kaliko, who said, I don't want to pass this on to the next generation, right? We have a choice to make. Let me continue. Both my feet planted when most people would have panicked. I embraced the storm. I found beauty in what was damaged. And that's beautiful. This speaks of strength. This speaks of a certain resilience. Where other people are panicking, I'm staying steadfast. I see beauty where things are damaged. And that's a beautiful thing. I think we all long for that. We long for someone to look at us when we feel broken, when we feel traumatized and damaged, when we're hurting, for someone to look at us and say, you are not broken, you are beautiful. Where we think I'm damaged, right? I'm too far gone. Someone to say, you are not. damaged. You're not broken. And there's something to be said, and perhaps that's the idea of the song. There's something to be said about being comfortable with the creature. And I know in religious circles, there's this idea, at least in Christian circles, this idea of that anything that is scary or evil should be rebuked and should be done away with. Even in certain other circles, not necessarily religious, philosophical circles, or even in human circles, we don't like the uncomfortable. We don't like the ugly, right? We see something deformed and something we would deem ugly and we want to remove ourselves from it. Or we look at it with disgust or with fear because we fear the uncertain. The same goes for nature, right? We see a bird with one wing and we go, oh no, broken. And granted, there are things in nature and in a natural order that imply that something's not right? I'm not saying we embrace everything as perfection, because certain things are wrong and certain things are harmful and certain things aren't quite right? You can't fly with one wing. We want to nurture that bird back to health. We want to help those who are hurting. But there's also something to be said about learning to be okay with the creature. What I mean by that is, I think people that feel like a monster or that are hiding behind the mask, as we saw all the masks in this music video, long for someone to make them feel like they can take the mask off, like they'll be accepted with the mask. We long for acceptance. I'm not afraid of the boogeyman. Instead, I look at him like he's a friend. There's not a monster out there in the world that's scarier than the one that's within. Okay, so basically saying, I'm not worried about these external threats. It's what's inside that's really the issue. There's a creature in my closet. I can hear him rumbling around. The demons screaming in the distance creates such a humbling sound. Interesting choice of words, humbling. Something that's humbling gives us a reality check. It puts us back on the ground. It keeps us from over focusing on the ego or being prideful, even though false humility can be a form of pride too. And it makes us come face to face with what's really happening. So these demons screaming, hearing them is a humbling sound. It keeps you in check. It reminds you of what is really happening, perhaps. He's like family to me now. Okay, so really creating this picture of the demons, the monsters. It's not out there, it's in here, and it's familiar. It's what I know best. The things that people are afraid of never let me down. So when I heard of never let me down, that wording in this remixed version, I thought never let me down as in when you don't let somebody down, you're there for them. And perhaps that's also what's implied here. But at the same time, since he's talking about fear and monsters and things that other people fear, never let me down, I'm also taking this as that's what I can always count on. Not that, I will never let you down in the sense of I'm always going to be here. Yeah. You can always count on the monsters and creatures to be there. People will let us down, right? Joy dissipates. Hope dwindles at times. Fun fades. But these monsters, the hardships, the fears, they never let me down. I always know that's going to come back or is going to stick around. Not a sadist. No, but I'm hated. So the religious freaks say I'm the biggest beast and that I've made it grow when I spray this flow. I created more creatures alike when I heat up the mic. I'm a breed of the night, but I'm tainted though. That rhyme, those rhymes here in that cadence flow was dope on Tech N9ne's part. I'm not familiar with his work, so it was kind of cool to see what he can do. Not a sadist. So basically saying, this is not me going, ooh, I love suffering and pain and I want to suffer and torture, but I'm hated. So basically saying, that's actually kind of a key word here, key phrase. Because to me, that implies this is not about me going, ooh, I'm bad and I'm evil and I love I love wickedness and everything bad. But basically saying I'm hated. People think I'm a beast. And I wonder if that is a reflection of what he and they are saying in these lyrics is inside. I wonder if that's a reflection of what has been said about them, right? People that are haters, people that say unkind things, people that say, oh, they're the biggest beast, right? Religious freaks, people that speak in their ignorance and try to put an identity on you. And he's making the beast bigger. He's making that beast grow as he sprays his flow. So basically, either saying he's making people think even more that he's a beast, right? He's fueling that, feeding off of all that negative backlash and the hate. Or perhaps saying, growing the beast, maybe becoming bigger and better in fame, right? We make more money off of the feedback, be it positive or negative, maybe applying this persona, right? I'm hated, so I become this persona of I'm the beast, right? And it grows with every time that he raps, right? People think, oh, he's evil and wicked, and his fame grows and the beast grows. I'm a breed of the night, but I'm tainted though. By the darkness unbind it, I sparked it and shined it. They find it, cause mine is woe. For that they labeled me a demon seed, want to disable nine, see him bleed. Hinder my fatality and see them grieve. Oh. You would not believe the creature inside me. We disagree when people defy me. If you deceive Khalifa's lively, we disagree when people defy me. They say I'm a flirt and they're right. I ain't perfect, aight? So when I'm thirsty and perkin' and purposely searching for something that's hurting me, I just get back up and go. I just back out of it slow. That's how it go. I knocked it back out of a hole. And next night act I don't know. Oh, snap. That just got me. I hadn't heard that when he was rapping it. So basically now the sexual reference of basically saying I'm a flirt, all right? It's true. Like when I'm thirsty, I do all this. I back out slow. I knocked it back out of a hole. Next night I act like I don't know, as in like drop it and pop it and drop it type of thing perhaps. I think they be laughing at me, hands be grabbing at me, feel like God let it happen to me. That'd be blasphemy. These be that desperately, I think I better let it go. Either that or I got to let her know that I can't do that. Okay, so to me, this could be interpreted as all kinds of things. Struggle with addiction, struggle with the sinful nature, right? Religious people or Christian people would refer to it as the sinful nature. Some might say just human behavior, human nature, right? This tendency to be drawn to what is either is deemed wrong, what is harmful, be it sex, drugs, rock and roll, right? Addiction, giving into our lust and or using people, our mental health, the demons that we fight. There's a whole lot of ways that can be interpreted, and it'll mean different things to different people. I think there's something to be said about not being afraid to talk about that darkness that people fight. There's different ways that we address those topics, right? Some want to just rebuke it and cast it out and get away with it. Others, they beat themselves up for their human nature. Others, they give in, right? They focus on the hedonistic side and just go, I'm just going to live it out. All right, I'm a flirt. That's how it is. Others, as I said, beat themselves up and repent and want forgiveness and try really, really hard to be better next time. There's something to be said about talking about these hard topics. But I think, as with everything, as I've said before, with measure, right? Where do we go from here? That's often the question we got to ask ourselves. And it'll be different for everybody. That's why I say relationship is so important in therapy. An individual approach to see that every person is unique. One person will respond defensively and say, yeah, so what, right? So I'm a flirt. So I have addictions. So I'm this monster, this creature. That's what I'm feel most comfortable with. That's how it is, right? Okay, well then let's talk about that. Are they thriving? Are they able to be a productive member of society? Are they happy? Are they fulfilled? Is this really, in all honesty, the life that they want? Is if they were to come to therapy, right? Is this, why are you here? Why is somebody in therapy if their mindset is, that's just how it is? Let's look deeper. Let's go beyond that. Not even the things that they're doing, but why? What does a creature mean to them? Why define as a creature? How is that inhibiting their life? How is that adding to or taking away from their life? And then we work through that. For another person, they may come from a place of shame and say, oh my gosh, I'm so ashamed, this creature, these habits, this addiction, I feel horrible, right? And we got to work through some of that. And yet again, for another person, it may be relationship and relational issues that have caused them to go, I feel like this creature behind a mask. I feel most comfortable there. I don't let the people in that want to help me. But my relationships are falling apart. What do I do? Right? So every person is going to hear this song differently and is going to respond to it differently. And I think there's something to be said for talking about the hard part and the uncomfortable, but not so over-identifying with the dark side of humanity and the creature that we now think that's all that there is to us. There's a whole lot we could talk about here. What do you think? What does this song mean to you? What do you think Jelly Roll and these artists are trying to say? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you on the next ride. Ayo!